In this video we're going to add some styling to our video player, and if you don't see why that's necessary, just take a quick look at the browser to see that our video player currently looks rather terrible. So let's get to it. I will get started by creating a new file. I will hit Ctrl N and I'm going to save this new file as player.css. This is going to contain the styling for our player. I will save it in the same folder as our player.html file. And next I will link to this style sheet right here by using the link tag within the header. First I'm going to specify the relation of that style sheet with this document. It's going to be a style sheet. Next I will specify the type, and that will be text/CSS. And finally the most important attribute is the href attribute. And this is for in here you need to paste a reference to the style sheet, and because they are both in the same folder I can reference that style sheet as player.css. Alright, so let's save it and let's test if we have successfully linked to that style sheet by making the background color red in the style sheet. If we refresh the browser, we see a red background, so the link was successful. Alright, let's remove that red background and let's get started by styling the video player itself. Now we gave the video player an ID of player, so we can call that by its ID. Let's give it a background color of light gray, and I'm going to make that light gray, or dark gray actually, by RGB 30 30 30. And let me just add a small comment at the top here. Whenever I'll be saying that I'm using dark gray, I will be using RGB 30 30 30. Now we'll also be using light gray, and for that I'll be using RGB 70 70 70. I will also be using light blue, for which I'm going to use RGB 50, 170, 220. So whenever you hear me say dark gray or light blue, I'll be using these colors. And these are the only colors that I'm going to use within this video player. Now, let's take a look at the current player. I will refresh the browser. And now we've got rid of the red background, but now everything seems gray. And that's because our player currently spans the entire window. Now if we want our player to only wrap around its children nicely, we should change the display. Currently the display is block because it's a div, but we can set the display to inline block in order to make our player nicely wrap around its children. If we refresh the browser, we see that only the actual containers are being wrapped. And also notice how these icons seem to have disappeared. Well, that's because, let's open up our images folder. These icons right here actually are using the RGB 30 30 30 color as a background, so that's the reason why we can't see them. Now all the icons also have this transparent section in the middle, so if we want to make them visible again, we can set the background color property on all our images. So let's quickly do that by referencing all images and setting the background color to light gray, which is RGB 70 70 70. And if we now refresh the browser, these buttons are visible again, as you can see. Alright, now that that's taken care of, let's start styling our first container, the video container. I'll reference it by its ID. And all I want to do is specify a width and a height for this video container. I'll give it a width of 640 pixels and a height of 320 pixels. Now as for the video within our video container, let's just reference that video tag because we're only going to have one video tag. I want it to have the exact same height and width as its parent. So I'll give it a height of 100% and a width of 100% as well. This will effectively cause the video to resize to its container. So all videos get resized to 640 by 320. Alright, now the next container that's up is the progress bar container. So let's call it out by its ID. P-bar container. The only styling that I want to give to the progress bar container is a height actually, for now. Let's give it a height of 5 pixels And also let's give it a background color of light gray. Background color, RGB 70 70 70. Let's take a look in the browser. If we refresh it, we see that our video got resized a little bit, and we also see our progress bar container, which is just a horizontal line at the moment. But I want to add some top margin to that. So I'll add a margin top of 2 pixels, and that will make a little bit of space between our video and the progress bar. And by the way, I think I've made a small mistake in the height. I think the normally the resolution is 640 by 360. So if I refresh it, now my video fits nicely because it's got the same aspect ratio. Alright, so there's our progress bar. But instead of specifying a height on the progress bar, I'm going to specify a height on the child a child of the progress bar container, which is the progress bar itself. And I'm going to give that progress bar a height of 5 pixels, and let's give it a width of 50% for now. And let's also add a background color of light blue. So background color, and that was RGB 50 170 220. So now we can remove this height right here, but I do want to give it some bottom padding. So padding bottom 2 pixels. Alright, and let's take a look at it in the browser. If I refresh it now, we're gonna see this blue progress bar right here, which is only filled for 50%. And of course, when we add the functionality, this progress bar gets wider as the video progresses. And notice how this progress bar container is now actually 7 pixels high, because its child is 5 pixels high, and we've added that 2 pixel padding at the bottom. So that's actually the progress bar container. Next up is the buttons container, but as this video is getting a little bit too long, I'm going to handle that one in the next video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in part 2 of styling our video player.